What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Creative Culture, where we believe creatives like you and I can change the culture we live in today. It's your boy Nehemiah.
And Ashley.
And I know I said on my story that we were going to talk about Friends, and we were going to release that one, but today's our anniversary, and we just decided to record another one. And I believe that this conversation should probably come first, just because I really like this one. I think it's going to tie into the Friends really well. So yeah, I think today's topic is great. What you think?
Yeah.
I think I sent this to you yesterday, huh? I was like sitting in the work van, and I was like, bro, I got a topic. No, I was like, I got a topic, and I just started writing things out, and I think it's a great one. Then we're just gonna get right into it. So basically, the title you would say is "Finally, I Answered the Call." Finally, I answered the call, or that call. What do you think that means? I know you know exactly what we're talking about, but if you're a person that's listening, what do you mean by that? What do you think I mean by that?
I mean, depends if they are believers or not. If they're believers, I'm pretty sure they are, thinking what we're thinking.
They know
about.
exactly what we're talking about, right?
Yeah. But if they're not, I mean, I wouldn't know because I'm a believer. So.
Yeah. So I put here, and I wrote this down. I put, for many times I felt like God has been calling. I've just been too busy on the other line with someone else that was keeping me empty. That right there, when I wrote that, I said, ooh, because that came to me. I don't know. It just came to me, and I was like, all right, we got to talk about this. Mm-hmm. So, man, let's speak about that real quick before we even move on to the questions. We're so busy on the other line talking to somebody else that's keeping you empty that you didn't even answer the call that when God was calling you. Wow. What do you think about that? That's deep.
Yeah. That is.
We're so distracted with the world. We're so distracted with life. We're so distracted with trying to be a great parent, trying to be a great spouse, a great friend, a great communicator, a great gifted person that we forget. Like, sometimes, while that's a part of your calling, God is calling you.
Yeah.
And you too busy wrapped around things that are keeping you empty instead of keeping you full. Mm-hmm. That's deep, bro. That's deep. I did not even... What'd you think?
How'd you come up with that?
I don't know. You know what it was? It was the conversation I was having with my coworker. He said he's been feeling empty. He's been feeling kind of weird because he gave up smoking weed and stuff. And when he said that, I said, wow. He's like, I'm not drinking. I'm not smoking. And he's like, I'm going to be honest. I feel weird because he's like, I can hear all the noise. I can hear everything going on around me. He's got his baby mama. He has a baby mama. And then he has a girl, which she's about to give birth soon. So technically 2 baby mamas, right? But he's with the one chick, and he's just like, she's like, she calls him and like, what's wrong, babe? Let us talk. He's like, I just don't want to talk. So I think that's the reason why I felt like writing this topic, or I wrote that down. And I even told him that. He said, bro, well, how do you come up with this stuff? And I'm like, man, this is God depositing it in me.
You be coming up with some good lines.
I feel like God deposits, certain things in me, and I write it down, or I just say it. When we were doing the pod with Aaron and Joey last season, they were like, yo, Nemo, like, you have these one-liners that are like, dude, they make you like think. So that's not a one-liner, it's a 3-liner, according to the notes. But when I wrote that down, I just thought, wow, this is deep. So getting into, I guess, breaking that down, I guess what I wrote, the first question I have is, do you know God is calling you?
Yes.
How? Such a cliche thing to say, but how?
I would say in the season that we're in, I mean, we've talked about it multiple times now, and just it's so clear now. I feel like we were just so, like you said, distracted. Yeah. And I felt like the times that we were trying to make it happen is because it was on our strength. Yep. We didn't let God be God and let him like open the door for us. But yeah, like I feel like this time it's just so clear. So
that's so good that you said that, because I don't even have another answer for that. I think you kind of answered it.
Yeah, because like the times, like the previous situation that you had mentioned on the podcast the episode that just released about, you know, the whole church thing, like I felt like we were trying to make it work on our strength, and
we were calling, God wasn't calling.
Yeah. And just like in previous like other situations as well, but like that most recent one, I felt like that's the one that we really were trying to make it work, and obviously God said no.
God was like, what you doing? Like, yeah. I didn't call you there.
Yeah. And then obviously now we're here, we're the third time here, and I feel like we're at the right place, we're at the right church with the right people, and yeah, like it's
crazy.
Yeah, it's so clear.
Yeah, so clear. You're right. How do we know God is calling you? You know, it's simple. You know, that's the second question. Is, you know, you answered the first one, so I'm not even gonna try to like. I don't have nothing else to say to that. The second question I had was, how do you know He's calling? I think when you stop being distracted, is when you know He's calling. Because I believe God is always calling, but we're so distracted that we don't answer the call. I put that we're too focused being on the other line, not knowing that the main line is calling.
Yeah.
And sometimes we get so distracted, and sometimes we're giving so much to others instead of giving our all to Him. Mm-hmm. We focus so much on the temporary use, than the fulfillment of the use.
The long-term use.
The long-term. The I'm talking about something that's going to last you a lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, I can name a few times in my personal life, but even before you, where I felt, how do I know He's calling? Man, you know, there's moments where there were some things that happened in my life that I'm like, dude, if God isn't calling, dude, I'm missing it. I'm missing it. You know, the time that I had to come out here the first time, like I knew it was coming because, dude, God was closing so many things down, you know, and I was like, man, Lord, I'm trying to make moves. I'm trying to do this and do that. And God said, well, because I didn't call you to do that. I called you to do this. Mm-hmm. I'll use another example, and then you tell me what you feel about this question. I've mentioned this before. I didn't want to serve at the church we're at.
Yeah.
I thought it was a church that I can hide, which is still funny to think about that I said I could hide. I said I wanted to hide. I said I didn't want to do anything. They don't need me on drums. They don't need me to do social media. They don't need me to take pictures. They don't need me to do nothing. Yeah. And what am I doing? I'm right in the middle of the worship team. I'm not playing, but I'm...
Yeah.
I'm not playing, but I'm able to be behind the camera and capture that.
Yeah.
You know, usually my camera is set somewhere in the church somewhere recording, but you know, like this Sunday I'm gonna be running around like a maniac with the camera. But at least that's the goal. But I say I guess I didn't want to pick up the phone this time.
What do you mean?
Like I didn't want to pick up the phone.
Like when we first moved?
Yeah, when God was calling. I didn't want to pick up.
Why?
I don't know. I just did it. I guess because of what happened last time.
Last season?
Yeah, I felt like I don't feel like, you know, I don't feel like just.
I feel like you just got overworked, I guess. At least in my point of view. I mean, I don't know how you feel, but like you were always playing. Mm-hmm. And if not, then you were doing sound.
I did all right job, you know. Kevin. Now that we're at this church, Kevin even teach me some things. That boy's a freaking monster.
Know. But I mean, I get where you're coming from. Like, I want to hide just because you served for so long, for so many years, without actually taking like a break for like a quiet of a time, like, you know, a long period of time. But yeah, I feel like that's probably why you.
It's funny. Thank you. The Holy Spirit just like tell you, man, when you start getting in tune with the Holy Spirit, He just be tripping because as you're talking, right, and you're saying this, Holy Spirit said, The reason why you didn't answer the call is because I wasn't calling you. I was calling your wife to answer for you.
What? Why?
Because we're in the position that we're in because you did something. You took a step. And God knew that I wasn't going to take the step because I was over it.
Yeah.
So he said, I'm going to get the closest thing to you.
It's funny because you saw, obviously we explained the story on how we even got into it. But like, I remember you saying, oh yeah, I saw her story, but I was just like, eh. Like, just imagine if I didn't even answer that. Like, where would we be? I mean, obviously we'd be at the church, but like, doing nothing.
Yeah.
So that's wild. I mean, I guess, yeah.
That's wild. You know, there's distractions that happens obviously when God is calling you, obviously being too busy on the other line. What distractions do you think or you felt that were in the way of the calling that God has for you?
I wouldn't necessarily call them distractions. I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but just the feeling of, I mean, you've mentioned this before, like me feeling like I'm in your shadow. So I felt like I wasn't good enough. So I never like really like, you know, I guess answered like or gave it my all. I don't know. I just always felt like I was in the back of the room, like unseen. But I don't know. So I just kind of felt like, you know.
Okay. No, for sure. Wow. I've had, in my opinion, I've had a lot of distractions. I think the biggest distraction is the thing in between my ears.
Your head. I mean, your
well,
your brain.
My mind. Going everywhere.
Mind, yeah.
Always thinking about everything, everyone.
Yeah.
Man, I've been feeling so convicted these last like just episodes that we've been doing. And maybe it's God for a reason doing it. But I'm gonna be honest, man. I was doing God's work, but I wasn't with God doing the work. You get what I'm trying to say? Man, I feel God. Oof. I was doing so much for God that I was doing it for me. I wasn't doing it for him. Because not once did I feel like there was moments where I felt that God was there with me and I was doing it and hey, I'm living in God's calling. But sometimes you prematurely call God instead of him calling you. God, you know what? I feel like this is a part of my calling, Lord. I'm just going to do it. God, I feel like this is you. I'm just going to step into it. You know how many times I've done that?
Yeah.
And I've just realized in this last season or this new season, I've just gotten out of the way of God. I've gotten out of my own mind, overthinking. I'm just going to say it, just going to do it. And if I don't look right doing it, the Holy Spirit just lead me through it because I can't do it without you. And the biggest distraction was this right here. The brain, my mind, my thoughts, even my heart. My heart wasn't even right in moments. My heart wasn't right. I wasn't doing things out of a pure heart. I wasn't doing things all the time out of a great heart. I would do it out of an angry heart, out of a heart who was mad and wanted to go off on people and stuff that I shouldn't have done. Yeah. So the biggest distraction was me. Bro, I can't blame nobody. Yeah. It's been me that's distracted me from receiving what God has for me and from picking up the phone.
That's good.
Are you scared?
Of what?
We picked up the call. We're on the phone with Jesus. Are you scared?
No.
Why not?
Just because it just feels right. Yeah, like we're good. Right where we need to be. So it's like you said, I don't know if you said on a podcast or we were just talking, but like, you said if it's from God, like there's a peace. Like there shouldn't be any anxiety or any second thoughts or just anything. But like when it's from God, like you just feel a peace and like why be scared?
I feel like sometimes people use anxiety as a cop out to really not even talking to God about it, just doing it. Like, why are you so anxious about something that God told you to do? If God told you it, if God put it in your heart, if you believe it's a calling of yours that you answered, why are you so anxious for it? If anything, you should be in love with it. You should be
at peace.
Oh my goodness. A sense of joy, a sense of peace, humility. But you're anxious? Oh, now you're feeling depressed about it? It just, to me, doesn't make sense. And please, if anybody out there, if I'm wrong in this, please tell me. Like, I want to know that it's okay to be. If it is, tell me why. Yeah. Because I genuinely don't. I don't get it.
Yeah.
God has not given us a spirit of
anxiety,
of fear.
Of fear, yeah. No.
Like, I don't understand it. I understand.
I get that sometimes where you can be scared.
Yes.
But like not anxiety or like, I don't know, because I don't deal with that. So I don't know how, sensitive people can get to fear and like.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
We know somebody who deals with anxiety. I've been blessed and fortunate to not have to deal with it. No depression. I've dealt with that. So I can talk out of a place that I've been in. Yeah. With anxiety, I've never been in. So it's kind of hard for me to just kind of like listen to people say all these things, like about like, I have anxiety about it. But it's like, bro, if God called you to it, sis, if God called you to it, stop having anxiety over something that you can conquer because God told you to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's definitely something that people can.
I want to talk, and I want to talk to somebody who's dealt with that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of somebody right now. A couple, but I'm thinking of one specific person that I would love.
I know.
Like I want to sit, I want to sit down and talk to you about this because I want to know. I want to know what it feels like. I don't ever want to feel it, but I want to know what it feels like to have to go through this. So that way I can empathize with you and sympathize with you and be there with you and for you through this because I just genuinely don't know.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know if they can hear that.
Dude, they partying in the back.
Our backyard neighbors, our side neighbors are partying. But yeah.
What made you realize it was time to pick up?
Just tired of failing.
That's true.
Yeah.
Tired of failing. That's simple.
Yeah. We've tried it on our own so many times. And even us thinking or trying to convince ourselves that it was God.
Yeah.
But.
And it wasn't. And it wasn't God.
And you can feel.
Man.
It's so like I just said earlier, it's just so much. It's just so peaceful. That's like. It just glides on smoothly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like when you, like I think of you like with makeup, like when they give you the right tone, like the right skin or the right color, it just looks so natural.
Yeah.
It looks so smooth.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to be smooth. Bruh, I know it ain't. Listen, I know that this calling it's not going to just be an easy call.
Smooth, yeah.
Yeah. It's going to have its difficulties. It's going to have its moments, Mm-hmm. I feel like to encourage somebody in this, if you know it's God, if you know you're called by God, because I believe all of us are called. The Bible says that many are called,
Yeah.
Many, all of us are called. I believe all of us are called to do it. All of us are called to do something in this life. Creative culture, right? A creative doesn't have to be content like what you and I are doing. Creative doesn't have to be photography, videography. I say it all the time. Yo, you're creative by being one of the best cooks ever in the world. You're creative by being an incredible mother. You're creative by being an amazing cleaner. You're creative by simply stocking Lucky's or Smart and Final, Safeway. Yo,
yeah.
There's creative. It's massive.
Everyone has a creative mind.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
I believe that all of us are called to do it. I believe if you're in this moment where you feel like you're called to it, step into it and let God guide you through it. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to talk to somebody that you confide in, to someone that you can trust, and say, hey, this is a little like this calling it's got a great weight to it, and I'm excited for this great weight, because when there's great weight, that means there's more strength coming with it. Mm. And hey, man, I might feel a tad bit weakened by it. How can you help me, man? Help me realize this. Mm. Sometimes the best, man, I heard this from John Bevere and Tim Ross when they on the basement. John Bevere used an incredible scenario of when like his kids were younger. Christmas time was work for him because he had to build all the toys that he brought for his kids. Or I look at the dream house that's right here next to my camera. Like, what happened if, like, he's like, there's many times as us macho men, we don't even look at the instructions. We throw it in the box and we try to build it. I'm gonna be honest, I went straight to the box, to the paperwork for this thing, this dream house. You know, but he said that some of us, man, we decide to do that, right? We throw away the instructions and think we can do it on our own. Mm-hmm. And I got so convicted. I started crying in the car driving. I'm like, this hit me, because how many times have I thrown the Bible to the side and I'm trying to build something and I haven't been able to build it because I never even read that Bible, which is my instruction manual.
Or even how to live your life correctly.
Yes. When he said that, I felt so convicted and I cried. So I was tears falling down. My eyes getting watery now because I felt that thing on the way home. I said, Lord, I am sorry. You gave me the instructions. What am I doing?
Yeah.
Trying to do it on my own. I'm not that macho. I'm sorry. You know, I just, man, when he said that, I was just like, dude, it got me, man. Oh my God, it got me. It get me right now. All right, so I wrote this down too. Be careful who you're on the phone with, because they could be the very thing to stop you from answering the call of God. That's why I said this can lead to friends for the next episode. Right?
Yeah. Which we can get into that in the next episode.
That's deep.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to mention that real quick.
Yeah.
What happens if he's waiting for you to call because he's tired of calling you? This is deep, bro.
Making me think.
Because sometimes we've missed the call of God so many times.
Yeah.
That he's just finally waiting for us to call him back. And this is not, like I said earlier, it's not a premature phone call that you're trying to, well, I believe God called me to this, so I'm just going to do it. No. I'm talking about you've been so distracted that he's been calling you. Mm-hmm. But now he's like, I'm just going to wait.
Yeah. I'll wait until you're ready.
I'll wait till you call me.
Yeah.
What happens if he's waiting for you to now call him?
I mean, I guess it depends if you're not distracted anymore. I mean, he's always going to be there to 100%. Answer. So just, the knowing of when you're going to call him back. Like,
yeah, I believe most of us, I'll use me for an example. What happens if he's waiting for me to call him? Mm-hmm. Man, I had to hit rock bottom for me to finally realize that. Yeah. I was only calling him on my terms, not on the terms of him. And what happens if he's waiting? The only way you're going to know if God's waiting is if you're in a place of feeling empty. There's a void in your heart. There's a void. You're making the steps. You're necessarily maybe doing your calling, but you're not doing your calling where you're supposed to be doing it at. And so you feel still empty with it. Like what I did, I felt very empty, even though I was serving with incredible people. Some of my amazing, some friends that I had at that time. Like, dude, I was serving with some really dope people. Yeah. Man, I said one thing and they're like, let's do it. And I felt like, yeah, that was part of, I'm called to do that. But maybe I just wasn't called to do that there. And it wasn't until God took us 2.5 hours, through almost 3 hours away, back to the Bay, to the place that's one of the hardest places to be reached for God. Pastor Ron says that all the time. And I believe that our church is one of many churches here that is changing that culture here. You know, but yeah, it took time for me. Just, it wasn't until I was away from everybody, away from everyone, away from comfortability. Mm-hmm. Even though it didn't seem comfortable, I was still comfortable.
Yeah.
You know?
That's good right there.
This next one might get... Do you only call when you're broken or when you're in need? Because we're all called. God has a calling on our lives. Do you only call God when you're broken or when you're in need?
I feel like I used to in my 20s.
Bro, you barely 30 years old in 1 week. Get out of here.
No, but like for real though, like on my earlier 20s, like I felt like I did. If everything was going great for me, then I kind of, you know, didn't seek for God just because everything was great. But once I hit rock bottom or just felt broken or empty, it's like, that's when I would call on him. But like, now like thinking back, like that's kind of sad. Like only calling on him when you're sad or broken, it's like, no, you know.
Yeah,
it's kind of messed up. I wonder how he feels.
I would have to agree with what you're saying too. But now that I'm not saying we're up, but now that we're up or we're on our way up, I guess you can say, bro, I can't stop talking to him.
No. Bro,
he probably getting mad. He probably like, bro, stop calling me, bro. Like, I get it. You're thankful. I get it. You're grateful. I get it. You're happy that you're happy where you're at. God probably like, hey, cálmate, mijo. You know, I know he's not. This is only for jokes. But like right now that we're like on our rise, but I can't stop talking to him.
I know.
Even when I was feeling like it's about to, bro, I was called. Jesus, thank you. Thank you.
I know. And I feel like I'm more sensitive now, like emotionally, like just with songs that I've like listened to like years, and it's like it just hits different now. And it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's just that connection now
because it means something.
Yeah.
I've gotten so many, like, you can say like prophetic words or whatever you want to call them. Mm-hmm. And I vividly remember one right now in the season that we're in. I remember mostly all of them that have been given to me because they're basically all the same. That's just confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. And once again, I didn't want to answer the call. But there's one that someone told me, and it was during the pandemic. You know exactly what I'm talking about. During the pandemic, I randomly clicked on a live stream, and this boy gave me a word. He's given me a word before, but he says, make your house a house of worship. Make your house a house of praise. And when you start to do that, God is going to reign all over you. God's going to, you know, I'm paraphrasing here because I know he didn't say reign. I know he said something else, but and he also was saying, he said, I feel, you know, like a financial breakthrough, you know, like you're going to have a lot of provision, you know, to supply the vision that God has given you, but also to help others. But he said, but it has to start with the house of worship and a house of praise. He says, you know, put the sticks in your child's hands and let them play because chains are breaking. You know, and he just says so much. And now that it took 3 years for me to like see now what was spoken over me 3 years ago. I'm now seeing what's happening because we have our own house to where we're playing worship music 90% of the time. She's even worshiping, she's singing, my daughter's being touched by God. My goodness, a couple weeks ago they were singing oh my God, what song is that? From Elevation, the new one.
The Make a Way?
Yeah, Make a Way. And I'm over here worshiping my daughter on Sunday morning, and she starts crying. I'm crying, and she's crying, and she says, "Daddy, God touched my heart." And I'm like, wow. The only reason why she's being touched that way is because she's been listening to the song already for 2-3 weeks. Well, 2 weeks, like what, 3 weeks maybe, almost every single day at the house. And it's like, wow, man, Lord, thank you. Like, there was a word that was spoken over me that was I believe said, from him through God. Like, God used him to say those words to me, and to see that it's just really dope, like to see that. I forgot what the heck I was going with that, but it's just cool, man. It's cool because I feel like those were little voicemails that God was leaving.
Yeah.
In preparation for what I was walking into today. Not today, but now.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you prioritize the time that God has given us now?
I feel like I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
I know I can be better, but yeah, that's just something that I just need to work on in general. But
do you feel like, though, when it comes to, I believe what God is calling us, what God has called us to do, and now us walking into that calling with not a pride or boldness within ourselves, but like a sense of pride and boldness in God, like this boldness that God has given us to go out and do it, to do it. I mean, and do it confidently, to do it with like, I've built you for this, so you're gonna do this, and we're like, all right, Lord, let's do it then. Yeah. Do you feel like you're prioritizing that now?
I think so.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it. I mean, I call you whatever from work, and I'm like, hey, this, that, and the third, and you're like, yeah, I'm over here about to do this and that. I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
Like, you really are prioritizing the crap out of that. And I feel like with me too. I feel like I'm prioritizing it. Right now, I'm just learning how to juggle a few things at once. I know the time is going to come here shortly to where I don't have to juggle, because this is what I'm going to be doing for work. Yeah. I'm going to be doing this very, very soon. I can just feel it. I just know it, but it's just awesome, man, to know that, like, I finally answered that call. And for others, they're finally calling him back.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. Do you feel like you answered? You finally answered it, or you're just finally calling him back? Because I feel both. For me, I was
going to say both.
I feel both.
Yeah.
Like, I answered it, but then I low-key had to call him back. Like, yo, you sure, cuz? Like, like, you sure you want me to do this, Jesus? I'm going
to call you back.
No, but you feel like...
I feel like it's both.
It's both. Why do you feel like it's both for you?
I don't know. I think ever since, I don't know about you, but like ever since we got the word from what's his name?
I'm not gonna say his name, but I know you're talking about.
Yeah. I feel like that was just like a wake up call.
PD. Yeah.
I feel like it was just a wake up call. It's just like,
yeah, that was a wake up call that happened in November, I think.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now. Go ahead, keep talking.
But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's just different. I don't even know how to explain it.
November 21st. I feel like ever since that moment, it was like God used him to, like, I'm gonna use his phone and I'm gonna pass it to you. Yeah, exactly. And then we went back home and was like, "Hello, Jesus." Yeah, man. I that word you gave, that word that we were talking about earlier. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're like, what's up with that word though? You know, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It was that. I think it was just finally that, like, that last, like, because it was not expected.
No.
Bro, I was not I was not expecting that day, that word to just come and hit us the way it hit us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's funny how, like, I don't know, I felt, well, it's not funny, but like, why? I don't know. It's just funny to think how, like, we went to this place not thinking of anything, and like,
we just went for support.
Yeah.
We didn't go for nothing else but support.
And then we got hard. And there's times where, like,
it was like mainly me.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm the hard-headed one.
But I feel like the times that we would go to, like, our old church with where your parents go, like, and he would come, like, oh, I hope he gives me a word, like, you know, and it never did.
I stopped asking for it though.
So did I. Eventually, I did, but like, I would be like, I wonder if I'm gonna get a word, like, Yeah. But like, you're not expecting that, and I feel like it just hits you. It
hits harder when you don't expect it.
Yeah, so I felt like
when you're not expecting the word, you're like, what? Jesus, what?
Yeah.
That happened to us, man. In November 21st would be always something that that person still to this day will always mean something in our family, in our life, because of who he was and what he did. Mm-hmm. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. Any last words? I think it's good to end it here on calling.
I don't think so. I think we've talked about, some pretty good stuff.
Yeah. I'm expecting for one person to comment, you know who you are, about to give us a whole word that's going to just it's literally going to just everything we said and just that one comment, everything we just said. Man, y'all, thank y'all so much for watching. Thank y'all so much for having this conversation with us. I feel like y'all talking amongst yourselves. I already know it. Like, I know they're talking because I got a message a couple weeks ago that said, man, bro, like, I wanted to chime in and say so many things, so I just started talking to myself. He knows who he is. Shout out to you, brother. But it's just, thank y'all so much, man. We're letting y'all into what our conversations are like in the car, what our conversations are like. Sometimes you're on the couch, sometimes in the bedroom, sometimes while we're eating dinner. Like, we're just having these normal conversations, and it's incredible to have, especially with your spouse. So yeah, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Happy anniversary, love. Happy anniversary. 6 years of marriage has been incredible, and I'm looking for another 66 years with you. Old and wrinkly. I'm already wrinkly, but old. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you comment down below, like, subscribe, share this video, share it with someone you believe needs to hear this, and someone that you believe can be touched by this. Also, come subscribe, man. 60% of y'all, 60% plus of y'all are not subscribed. So make sure y'all subscribe. It's free. I'm not charging y'all. We're not gonna charge y'all, I promise. But once we get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm gonna say it now, we're gonna drop some merch. And yeah, we'll drop some merch. Anyway, see y'all later. Peace.
Bye, guys.